guys, it's Lee, Boy Passport Bro Visuals. I'm back at it with another one. And yeah, today I want to talk about the Anton Daniel and Corey Holcomb situation. More so Corey Holcomb situation. About 15 hours ago, a video was released about him hitting hitting a female comedian, Christina Payne. So that was, I guess it happened late October 2024 or late 2024. It got released about half a day ago, and it's all over the internet. So what I want to talk about with it is, like, you know, Corey Holcomb and O'Shea Duke Jackson. The truth is the truth. Guys like that, this situation proves.
In half a mile, take exit 11C for US 212 West, Minnesota 5 West.
This just proves that black guys like that, the way they think, Corey Holcomb and O'Shea Duke Jackson, he just proves that, unfortunately, you know, and guys like that have always been the physical minority in the black race as far as how we think. Guys like that have always been.
Take exit 11C.
They always been a minority, and that's just kind of what that is. And this kind of shows it. So it don't matter if it's white people who put out the video, black people who put it out, or the woman that hit, Christina Payne. This just proves that your way of thinking is the minority of the black race, and people don't agree with it. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, you know, I think, you know, that's his karma for disrespecting Anton Daniel's daughter, because she had nothing to do with it. His wife had nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, Corey Holcomb gotta deal with it. And I would like to see how O'Shea Duke Jackson would sit up there and try to defend against it. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, he represents. He's an old dog. He represents the old guard as far as how to respond in certain situations. When you're almost 60 years old and you still responding like that, you know what I'm saying? That's why he ain't married. That's why he got a bad relationship with the daughter he does have. You know, and all that sort of stuff, because he's thinking like that. And he's that type of guy. So a lot of people just don't kind of really respect that. A lot of people don't respect that type of thinking. And of course, like the one guy was saying, I was reacting to his video on the situation. Like he said, yeah, of course, you know, Anton would probably be like, hey, you know, this is.
In half a mile, use the right 2 lanes to take the Minnesota 5 exit.
You know, look how he responds. But hey, that's exactly the truth. That's exactly right. You know what I'm saying? You cannot be a confrontational person.
Go past this first exit and use the right 2 lanes to take the Minnesota 5 exit. Then continue on to Minnesota 5 West.
You can't be this type of person who's confrontational, wants to be confrontational. And then when you know, because you win something, you lose something, but when you start losing something, then you want to act like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just constantly going to look bad, you know? It's just pretty much constantly going to look bad for him. So, like I said, you know, he's in the wrong for that, you know, but he had no business talking about, you know, his daughter. I just find kind of bizarre and kind of weird. And like I say, O'Shea Duke Jackson, his punk ass, he wants to look at it from a comedian standpoint. Yeah, he was wrong. I don't condone it. I talked to his wife, and so he claimed he talked to that man's wife. You know what I'm saying? And he's talking about he's proud of his daughter and all that sort of stuff. Like, well, you know what? You ain't got one yourself. You know, and Corey, you know, he don't have a good relationship with his daughter. You know what I'm saying? So it just proves the point that a lot of you guys like that are not really about the family structure. And you got to wonder, did this man really cheat, per se, on his wife, or he got something like that kind of set up, which I kind of doubt. You know what I'm saying? But I understand how the optics look. But Corey he's not indisputable. You know what I'm saying? He's not, you know, you can't defend him indefensible. You know, he sat up there. You know, he struck that woman. You know what I'm saying? He did what he did, and, you know, she ain't like what she said. He hit her. You know, you can't defend that. You know what I'm saying? And O'Shea Duke Jackson, like I say, it's the same thing. You know, he probably wouldn't do that, but he would condone it in a sense because of the argument. That just proves the point. Guys like that are the minority in the race. race and how we think. You know what I'm saying? That's why guys like that, they kind of stay within their own frame of pocket of people who understand them and things like that. And, you know, because they don't want that scrutiny. You know what I'm saying? They don't want that scrutiny. You know, and those guys need those scrutiny because your way of thinking is problematic to the rest of the world. Not just for the world, but even for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, he shouldn't have hit that girl, hit that woman. I don't know what he was thinking. But hey, you know, if that's a woman he don't know, or you know, they have beef or whatever, I hate to see what he do to a woman that he with in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's just, it's a crazy, unfortunate thing, you know, that even had happened. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think that's, it might be a rap for him, but yeah, definitely people going to try to come at him, get a bag, and you know, and all that. But as far as people like coming at Anton Daniels, you know, I follow him. I don't watch him as much. But yeah, I agree with a lot, but I do still see some issues too. Have some problems with certain things he was talking about. But it's like the truth is the truth. There's more black people that think closer to Anton than Corey Holcomb or O'Shea Jackson. You know, they just say it out in the open. You know, but they don't really. But behind closed doors, they really mentally thinking closer to Anton. You know, and it's really always been that way. You know what I'm saying? So, but I just wanted to see how O'Shea is going to respond to that. As far as, you know, this man's daughter being disrespected. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, when it comes down to it, it's just, you know, you got to understand that, you know, guys like that, like, they are the physical minority in their way of thinking in regards to the race. You know what I'm saying? It always has been. Their way of thinking is very surface level, and it's just a justification of an excuse to have your, just to kind of, you know, hold yourself back, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? It's just an excuse. You know what I'm saying? And they way of thinking, it's not conducive, because what works for you don't work for the next black person. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem with a lot of these ghetto hood blacks. A lot of that crap don't even work for them, but it works for a portion of them. And the rest of the blacks who's either from that, but they don't have that sort of mindset, or they're just not of that mindset.
At the next light, turn left.
They don't think like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, this sort of stuff just holds, the way of thinking holds black people back. You know, you can't condemn somebody just because they say you can be held accountable a little bit in one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that's a big hypocrisy, you know what I'm saying? But you bitch ain't complaining about the white man, this, that, and the third. Ain't changing nothing for you. It ain't doing nothing for nobody.
At the light, turn left onto Powers Boulevard.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't doing nothing for nobody. It ain't, you know, putting money in nobody's pocket, you know, other than them, because they just pandering. But you have actual solutions to the problem, which is really the big reason. If you change things for the race, then the previous problems, you know, that's there, they fix. But the people who would complain about these sort of problems and stuff, they don't have nothing else to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're going to have new problems that they, for one, not familiar with. Two, they don't have the experience to talk about these certain issues. Because that's not their experience or whatever. It's unfamiliar to them. You know, and that's really ultimately the threat of what people like that feel. You know, with someone like an Anton Daniels or Kevin Samuels, or somebody, you know, who's an actual doer and producer, you know, in society. You know, but you need to have a little bit of accountability to help you. You know, and nothing is wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with that at all. But black people gotta wake up and see that, hey, this pandering crap and, you know, disrespecting the white people, that's not helping. Whether it's true or not, it's not helping you, you know, fix your own life and all that sort of stuff. And once you kind of accept that, you know, you'll feel better. You'll, you know, kind of want to lock in and hone in and try to work on your own life and work on yourself and try to improve yourself. You know what I'm saying? But you know, like I say, you know, Corey, like I said, you're part of that old guard. with that bitching and complaining and all that sort of shit. That's what he that's what he does. That's how he makes his money. Yeah, these things are true, but they ain't completely true. You know what I'm saying? White man ain't stopping you from getting no bread. You know what I'm saying? It's yourself stopping yourself from getting bread. I mean, Corey Holcomb, he works. He's a comedian. He's getting bread. So how the white man stop him? You know what I'm saying? In the past, probably so, but hey, it's not. That's not everybody's experience. You know what I'm saying? Especially 60 years removed from the civil rights movement. And that's really what a lot of these old guard people is trying to cling on to. You know what I'm saying? But some of these issues don't really apply so much to today's time. And that's part of the problem.
In 800 feet, turn left.
And I think that's what a lot of these guys are kind of threatened by. You know what I'm saying?
Turn left.
Yeah, that's what a lot of these guys are kind of threatened by. Like I said, once these problems are fixed, they ain't nothing else to talk about. Because the new issues that's gonna come in, they don't have the experience to talk about those issues at all. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not familiar to it. And they don't have the experience for it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what I think is that.
In 800 feet, your destination will be on the right.
Yeah, I think Corey Holcomb kind of messed up. He messed up bad hitting that woman. He definitely messed up disrespecting Anton's daughter and his wife, which had nothing to do with this. Yeah, because you know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna hit him. I mean, you hit the guy, but you ain't hit this woman. Ain't no disrespect to Anton. He ain't no punk, but he ain't like the toughest dude either. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, he's one of those guys, but you ain't hit him. You know what I'm saying?
Your destination is on the right.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't hit him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, it says what it say about you. So that's why I think it's a big problem with Corey. He's a punk in that way. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that's my 2 cents on that right now. So yeah, that's how I think about that right now. So it's a bad situation. It's rough. You know what I'm saying? It should never have happened. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I say, O'Shea, Duke Jackson, Corey Holcomb. Like I said, these guys are guys of the old guard, and they don't want to deal with the truth that black people, most of them don't think like you, and never really had. And I think that's the real threat. And but like I said, we got to get over the hump as far as accountability, as far as certain things that we've done specifically for ourselves in our own lives. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got to go too hard per se on each other. We got to discuss those issues and actual solutions, because those guys, O'Shea, he pretend he's a conservative as he claimed, but he's not the type to come up with any real solutions. Corey Holcomb, the same thing. He's not a solution-based guy. He's a comedian. He's not a problem solver. So that's his problem, and that's the same for O'Shea. And these guys just hide behind this so-called fake idea of self-reliance, pro-black, pan-African self-reliance, and they're not really even about that. So, because you really pro-black and pan-African, you saying goofy motherfuckers would never, fought for integration. But hey, that's a whole other conversation. But so that's my thoughts on that, and I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. I'm gonna post some more videos a couple days soon. I'm gonna try to see how this Corey Holcomb situation plays out over really next week, the weekend too, but definitely next week. I'm gonna see how that plays out, see how that goes, and also try to keep up with Anton, see what his next moves are and things like that. So, but yeah, but definitely the woman that he hit was definitely waiting on it. She probably either had it or the police had it. She told him to release it. I wouldn't be surprised if actually the police, LAPD or whatever, I wouldn't be surprised if they released it. You know what I'm saying? Right. without Christina, really saying anything about it. But yeah, it's not looking good right now for him. It's pretty bad. He's definitely hypocritical, and it just proves the point about guys like that, certain blacks like that who think like that, they get violent. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you stand up to them, and that's what guys like O'Shea Duke Jackson represent. That's what guys like Corey Holcomb represent. And that's what a lot of these, fake, for the people, faking the funk type people are. And that's how they really are. So, especially when you don't really back down, they show their true colors. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on that, and I'll keep you guys posted, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.